cut. Health and safety has just turned up.
And that's the stupid shit for today, Don.
Yeah.
Alright, how's our Canadian friends say? Fucking mint.
Welcome back to part 2 of chopping up a disco.
Is that like a band?
Yeah.
That's our new band name. Chopping up a disco.
Chopping up a disco. So yeah, so it's basically part 2, guys. We chopped it in half last week, and then now we're going to start.
Now we're just going to chop the other half off.
The other half off. Let's then just leave a chassis. That's about all that's good on it. So yeah, we're going to start. Because Paul's talked about chopping out these inner wings, as you can see.
These inner wings.
Yep. This has been jet washed so many times.
Yeah, there's a bit of mud in there.
Yeah. So we're just getting everything off the inner wings. I'm going to delete this ABS. Radiator needs to be changed, doesn't it?
Radiator's going, yeah. I'm going to scavenge the one out of my other truck.
Yeah.
Other than that, we've got big suspension modifications to do.
Yeah, you've already seen that. You've seen that in the videos. If you haven't, go and check it out, because that stuff is going to be awesome. You can change the turrets now, aren't you? 2 inches shorter.
Yeah, I've got. This is a set of heavy-duty turrets. Hang on, come down this side because there's no wings. You can see them better. Heavy-duty turrets on this side that we put on the other week because the other ones were short. But I've got some 2-inch lowered ones I've just got as well. So just to give it a bit more articulation, we're going to just lower those turret heights. And but we'll go through that with the suspension once we get this body off. We're going to do a clean up on the chassis, clean up and paint on the chassis, and then we're going to do all the suspension and all the mods,
which is going to be so much easier to watch
film
and see, because I won't have a body on it, which is great for me because it's all going to, the same stuff's going to happen to mine. It'll be a lot easier to understand what's going on because it'll be so visible and easy for us to film as well.
Yeah, we can show you how to get all that on the easy way with no body. Okay, he's just ripping bits off.
All the bits. Getting muddy.
Do you know, I'm soaking and mudding because it's dripping. I'm
sat inside it.
I've got I moved it and all the well, basically snow fell off the roof. But yeah, so we're just going to delete all these bits on the inner wings and we'll be back in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Just following on to our little whinge earlier about the mud in the intercoolers, in the radiator. Well, that's the clean side. Well, so saying that side's absolutely solid. So we're kind of thinking that the intercooler wasn't working very well on this truck. Well, it would have been working, there would have been air going through it. It wouldn't have been cooling. But I'll just put that up at the sun. You can't see through it. There's a bit of light there. That's a joke. That's ace. I love that. God, that's heavy. There's a lot of mud in there. Me and Chris are now working there. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. It must be nearly beer time.
Beer o'clock.
You might as well just pull it off. Go on, bite the bullet.
What size
20. Are they 22 or 21? Or 24?
So as you can see, a very well made battery clamp here. Well, obviously not original, but been made. which is held in with a cable tie.
Well, it's got a knot that end.
More quality workmanship.
At least it's got one.
You need a beer to do this.
It's reached beer o'clock, guys. It's kind of one of them. It's like, why have they done this? Why?
So because it's been so butchered up, it is easier to actually rip out pretty much all the electrics, take the loom, take everything out that you don't need, which is a lot, and just put the basics back in.
We're just going to make a new wiring loom. It's going to be easier and safer. Put a new fuse box in,
Yeah.
new wiring loom, or reroute from the existing fuse box. But as soon as we've taken this battery out and this header tank and that fuse box, we're going to cut the inner wings off. So say goodbye to the inner wings. Bye, inner wings. Oh, that's better, guys. You can probably see that. We've been a bit busy. We've not been filming.
Just for health and safety reasons.
For health and safety reasons, we didn't want anyone to know what we were doing. But we're just going to whip these doors off, and hopefully that'll lighten this tub up so we can get it over the back. But it does go through. You have to jiggle it. You have to put some Vaseline around it, Chris. I know. But just look how nice this chassis is underneath. That's why we're saving this chassis and all this running gear, and possibly that windscreen, and maybe not these doors. Chris is just wondering about whether we actually need a floor.
White mesh.
White mesh.
The mud floor,
Yeah.
We'll take the latches off and the stops.
Yes, they should be able to knock the pin out. Right, we're just going to take these doors off.
We'll be back in the front. 1, 2, 3. Some stuff is going now. Yep, I can see wheels, but we're going to get off. Find it, I'll find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the left hand side, I think. Okay.
You can lift it. You want to guide it, I'll lift.
Okay, yeah.
Right, caught now. Another go. No, I'm caught, Jack. Everyone step away.
Okay,
Ready?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's that? It's dirt.
Cut. Health and safety's just turned up.
And that's the stupid ship for today, Don.
Yeah.
Famous.
Why am I hurt? Why?
I don't know why you're hurt, because we told you to step away. Have you packed it with ice? Go and put some ice around it. And just because you've hit the knuckle, it's just swollen up. I've done it loads of times myself. Now it looks cool.
It looks big.
Looks big now,
It was
doesn't
looking
it?
really small, and now it looks really big again.
Now we can get it cleaned and painted.
Yeah.
Now guys, the fun bit begins. Oh, it's day... Oh, I have no idea what day it is really. In the cold light of day, in the aftermath of what we did yesterday, we have this. And what a sight it is to behold, eh? But this chassis is in really good condition. Let me just clean that lens. That's better. This chassis is in really good condition, unlike this body, which really isn't. I mean, I am actually going to be cutting more of this away. We're going to be saving the dashboard, the seats for the time being till we put bucket seats in, that pillar, and then we've got to rebuild this bulkhead. That's all been welded badly. I'm just trying to get around the tree. There we go. You can see all this has been welded badly, so all that's got to be cut out. So that's supposed to be a body mount, which it isn't. Out of the 6 body mounts that were on the remaining bit of the shell, we only had to undo one of them. The other 5 are still attached to the chassis. I'll just show you. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, that one, and that one, and that's the only one up there that we had to undo. The rest of them just snapped. So literally the only thing holding this body on was the seatbelt anchors. The 2 seatbelt anchors where they go through, hang on, let's turn you around again, go through the chassis there and there. They were the only, really the only 2 things except for that front mount holding the body on. Because the front ones were gone, the rear ones were gone. So, God no, it's still got MOT for a month. So 11 months ago this passed an MOT. it's unreal. I don't know how it passed an MOT, but there you go. But right now I'm going to get the jet wash out. I'm going to give that a clean. Right. The other reason, shut up, Jack Wash. We've got all the mud and all the crud off this side. Oh, so saying there's still big chunks of mud down there. But before we start the proper work on this, I want to get it all clean, because A, it's going to be nicer to clean on, but B, when you clean it off, you start finding things like that gearbox bolt is backed off. So, that one's missing, and so's that one. So at one time someone's done a clutch on this and not torqued everything up properly. So we'll have to locate some of them. Come round to the messy side. Oh yeah, there's... yeah, the two hard ones at the top, which are difficult to get at, they haven't bothered putting back on, so we need to sort them out. Let's have a walk around again. Oh, my hands are cold. Yeah, things like that gearbox mount is crushed, so this has obviously had a moment where it's ripped that mount off and landed back on it and squashed the mount, so I have to get a new one of them. There's still mud in there. Oh, more jet washing. Right, carry on jet washing. So after an hour's worth of jet washing and a lot of cleaning up of the drive, this is all nice and clean now. Well, relatively speaking. There's still a lot of mud inside the chassis I've got to get out, but just for the time being I've put that bolt back in, the one that was backing itself out. I've replaced that bolt, and the same one on the other side was missing the nut, so I put that in. I've tightened all these up just so when we're working on it we know all the bolts are in the right place. So while I'm going around, I'm replacing them now, and then we'll take them out, clean them, put them back in as we do the other bits. Replace those 2 gearbox bolts too. I've moved the proper ones round to the top, and I've put 2 M10s with a washer on that side, so all the bolts are on the gearbox. Yeah, that wiring loom's broke. So that's where I'm up to now. Just going to cut these mounts off because there's no way they're unbolting. Whip them off, and then I'm going to go and get warm because it's absolutely freezing out here. So I'm going to let this dry and get it in the garage and get this chassis wire wheeled and painted. Then we're on to the suspension. I've put the chassis into the workshop. As you can, it's great. The workshop sounds dead empty and echoey now, but it's absolutely freezing. I'm going to leave this in here for an hour with this jet heater running, which I've just turned off. This sat outside last night after I jet washed it, and there's a bit of ice on that. So I'm going to dry this out, and I'm going to get a wire wheel on it and get some paint on it today. So I'm going to just go off and get some diesel for this jet heater because it's nearly run out, and leave this heater on drying the chassis out. So hopefully when I get back this will be a lot drier and a lot warmer in here. So yeah, I've got a bit of grinding to, well actually when I say I've got a wire wheel, there's this back section still got paint on it. You can actually see where the mud is actually sitting in the chassis because you can see where it's frozen to. Yeah, the chassis is full of mud. I've got to take the springs off, just take these spring plates off. I've a wire wheel around here. I've got this patch of welding to do here. I've got that little bit on the other side. That's it for welding. And the paint is good up to about there, because all the paint forward of that is absolutely mint. So literally I've just got to wire wheel from that point to like where the fuel tank is, because the back of the fuel tank, it's clean because we've had that out. So this is going to be a competition truck, so all I'm going to do is just get the rust off it and give it a coat of chassis black just so it looks tidy, because we've got a lot of welding to do to this chassis because we've got to put a roll cage on. But for now I want to get it dry, clean and ready for the new suspension. So I'm going to get some diesel and I'm going to leave this heater on. To bring you up to speed on some of the things that I'm doing. Right, we know this piece here on the chassis has got to have this plate put in. Now this is normal, they all go here, and I've got a chassis outside, I've had to weld it on my truck, Chris's is the same, they all go there. And you know why they go? Because they don't put a bloody drain hole on this side, and all the mud comes off the wheel, runs into that hole and fills this up, and they all rot because they don't put a drain hole. So I've just taken, hang on, what's that, like a 20mm hole saw, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. But what I was saying before the camera cut out on me was they do put a drain hole in, but if you use them off-road that clogs up with mud instantly. So I'm going to put the same size hole in that side, because that side's full of mud but it's not rotten. So, well, that is the amount of mud that I've just got out of that. And I'm going to put some bigger drain holes. If we just come round here, oh, it's like a sauna in here with this heat on, everything's soaking wet. I've got water running out the chassis there still as it's defrosting, so I'm going to put two bigger drain holes in the chassis. Going to enlarge the drain holes because it won't hurt and it'll get the mud and crap out of the chassis. Especially on this bend here, there's no drain hole here, and it comes in at the front and it fills this section up with mud. So I'm going to put one there, same the other side. I'm going to put one at the back of that where it's dripping now, and I'm going to enlarge the other ones. Basically, I'm going to make them that size, which is already in the chassis. But they seem to make all the drain holes really small, and all the holes that collect all the mud really big. So you've got all these big ones, which is pretty much the same size as that. Oh yeah, nearly bang on. Where all the water and mud gets in, and the drain holes underneath are all tiny. I thought I'd just give you a quick look at what I'm up to right now. I've just whipped out these rear springs because I want to get up in here to do some grinding, get it all cleaned off. It's not rusted through or anything, it's just surface rust. So I'm going to get the wire wheel in there, clean all them out. So I've just taken the springs off, taken the dislocation cones off. But just, whoever put the suspension together on this, like we said before, the suspension's terrible. But they put the washers on the wrong side of every single nut that I've taken. Every nut and bolt's got the washer on the inside, not on the nut side. Just made me laugh. Or as our Canadian friends would say, fucking mint. But yeah, we're getting there. There's still water running out of the chassis. I've still got the heater on. It's like a Turkish sauna in here right now. But I'm slowly drying it all off. I'm going to clear all this out of the way, have some dinner, leave this heater on, and we'll be back with the grinder. What am I up to? As you've seen, I've taken the suspension off. I've just knocked any loose surface scaly rust off with just a pinging hammer. And now I'm on to going over it with a wire wheel, which will be fun. So I'm going to do obviously back to front. Like I said, the front doesn't need a lot, there's still paint on that, I'm just going to clean that up. I'm not going for a showroom finish, we're just going for paint on the chassis, just to protect it, because this is going to be, you know, an off-road truck, it's going to be used. There's no point going too deep into actually, you know, cleaning it all off and, you know, rust treating and all the other things, because at the end of the day, we're going to end up welding the roll cage to it not too long from now, so we'll, I'll get it all cleaned off, get a coat of black on it, just some chassis black to tidy it all up, slow the rust down, and then just add when the roll cage comes, because we've got to weld the rear bed on, but I just want to get it clean, dry, and nicer to work on, because you can't believe there's still that much mud running down to the chassis. There's mud and water and crap and everything coming out of it. But yeah, I just want to get this cleaned and get a coat of paint on. Just before I do the grinding, I'll just show you what I'm using. I'm just using these big wire wheels, like cone-shaped ones. I've got a couple, I've got a brand new one there, and I've got a partially used one. So I'll use this one until it's down to a stump, and then I'll go on to the new one. Normally I use the flat ones that have the wire on the outside. When I went to get these, they hadn't got them, and I bought two of them. So obviously we've been using that one for something else. But I'll get those on and get some wire wheeling done. That's about 45 minutes worth of wire wheeling. So I've still got my mask on, so I might sound a bit muffled. But yeah, chassis is in really good condition, guys. There's considering the state of the rest of the truck, it's gonna make a good one, this is. Well, I'm filthy, guys. That's a horrible job wire wheeling, but I've just taken off these, so I'm just holding the camera and just trying to guess where it is. I've just taken off the front turret, shock tower, to find that shock's completely blown up, but that's dead. Well, considering it's a gas shock, that's not working very well. So I've just sent Karen in to order a replacement shock for that side. The other three, all good. So got to sort this exhaust out because it's an abomination of parts. Oh, you're not in shot. There you go. I've got to sort this exhaust out because it's a complete and utter bag of crap. Whoever put it together did not have any idea what they were doing. So I mean, the angle's in the wrong place completely. I don't know what they were thinking when they made it, because it actually hits the A-frame. So what I'm actually going to do is cut it there, weld in a mid-box. I'm just going to put a straight through mid-box in, like a cherry bomb or something like that in there. Obviously weld, because they've got a little piece of pipe extension there, like one of those clampy things, which are completely useless. You can't really see that. Yeah, sort of there. So get rid of that, which will give me the length to shunt that piece of pipe back, join that up properly. Then I can re-angle the exhaust so it comes over here a bit further, so it sits in line here, because I can actually, when I cut it, I can actually kink the box and bring it across, relocate weld the hooks on wherever I need them, and then might keep this tailpipe coming out the back, because with it being a pickup, or I could just cut it and bend it and bring it out the side. Don't know. I think I'll just keep it coming straight out the back. So I've got to order a mid-box, but it is coming together well. It's coming together nicely. Yeah, it's one of them. We're going to end up rebuilding it completely, aren't we? I mean, we've got a good base, we've got a good chassis to start with. I'll turn this camera in. We've got a good base to start with. We're not having to plate and build the chassis up from bits. Gearbox is good, engine's good, turbo's good. The suspension's going to be mint. You're going to like the suspension we're putting on. And then we're going to build a cab from scratch, which will be good. So I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be really cool. Before I get too carried away, I thought I'd just show you that I've started painting. I've just started to put a coat of chassis black on this. Obviously I've still got to do the welding there, so I'm not painting that bit, but I'm just going to go around, stick this coat of chassis black on this, and that's got anti-corrosion in it, so it'll be as good as anything on there. Plus, like I said before, I've still got to weld all the bits to it, so there's no real point in doing anything else but putting chassis black on it. And for maintenance and stuff, it's just easy. So yeah, I'll show you when it's done, because I don't think watching me paint's that exciting. So that's 3 hours of painting. It's literally taken me 3 hours to paint that. Oh, hang on, I've just missed that piece on the other side. Damn. More to paint. Alright, so I'll paint that, and then I'm done. But other than that, it looks really good now. Amazing what a coat of paint does. That Henry Ford wasn't wrong. You have any colour you want, as long as it's black, and that'll do. See, I painted that side. Right, I'll put my gloves back on. Alright guys, that's the painting nearly done. Tomorrow when I go home from work, I'm going to do the welding, which which is that plate and that plate over that side. And I'm going to chop off, hang on, that anti-roll bar mount and the same one on the other side. I forgot to cut them off. I've still got the bump stops to take off up there. We've got a blown shock, so I've got to pull that out too, but tomorrow I want to get the welding done. Like I was saying, I want to get the welding done so that we can get the suspension done on Saturday. Because literally we can do all the suspension in one go, put it all back together, and I can order a mid box and get that done at the same time. So literally this is the shell part, bar doing, hang on, I want to change the clutch. I want to change the clutch in this because I don't know, it doesn't slip, but it just doesn't feel right. So, well, it's like this, I can just unbolt the mounts, I can take this gearbox out, do the clutch, do the oil seal at the back of the engine, and well everything's accessible at the front here, I can do the cam belt. Don't know when it was done, so you know, just crack that off, pull the time gear off, and do the front oil seal at the same time, and that's the engine done. I think it needs a set of glow plugs though. But other than that, literally once that's done, you know, I've got to get a new fuel sender because that pipe's broke off. That decided to, it had obviously snapped off before and someone siliconed and crimped cable tied that on. So yeah, need a new fuel sender. Put the swirl trap back in there because they bypassed it. I've got that. And on that, oh, and reversing light switch. The wires were snapped off on that. Other than that, there's no reason why we can't have this all done, all finished, sorted by the weekend, and then we're on to the body. And the body, you know, I can probably weld that in a week. Yeah, like I was saying, I can probably weld the body in a week, and we can start having this back together. So my 6-week deadline isn't that far away. There's, yeah, this is week 2. So we've got 4 more weeks to get this done, and I think I'll probably do it. So just after Christmas, this will be done and ready to go. Well, it'll be ready to go for an MOT actually. If I can convince Karen to keep paying for all the bits, or at least letting me spend the money, we'll get there. Well, that looks awesome. Can't believe how substantial those radius arms are. And it's already starting to, even with just that on, it's starting to correct the angle on that diff.